Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And once again, what another phenomenal episode of NXT. Great in-ring content, some hinted character progression, and this show even laid the groundwork for next week's show with two, at least in my opinion, big matchups. Ashton, what do you think of it?
Yeah, dude, this was the best NXT that we've gotten since pre-TakeOver Fatal 4-Way. The show before TakeOver Fatal 4-Way, where they kind of featured all four guys going into that Fatal 4-Way match, was my favorite show in a long time that NXT put out, and I would say that this was my favorite show since that show by quite a bit.
Yeah, they threw everything at you in this show. I thought it was terrific. So with that said, let's just get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night, and I have 0 heats of the night tonight. What about you, Ashton?
No, absolutely not. This show was too good.
Absolutely. So with that said, let's get right into our NXT review. And Ashton, how do we open this baby up?
With a 30-second Baron Corbin squash match.
Yeah, he must be a fan of TwitWoW, because he must watch it and go, I'm going to have a match that's quicker than John's hot seat. And it pretty much was, because if you blinked, you missed this thing. Baron Corbin comes in. I don't even know if he did anything to precede the end of Days, Ashton, and he gets the pin and the win.
He did. He did an Irish whip.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Irish whip, end of Days, done. You could literally put that on a t-shirt. That's how succinct it was, and I guess my review will be the same way, because I really have nothing else to say. Baron Corbin continues to dominate.
He's so impressive, and he's already getting over with this crowd.
Oh, the crowd loves him. I think the crowd really does love any kind of destroyer-type gimmick. It's just so much fun to behold, and I definitely see Baron Corbin having a bright future. In fact, and this may venture off into fantasy booking here, I could see him and Tyson Kidd crossing paths soon, seeing as how Tyson has nothing better to do. I mean, he's been alienated from the NXT Championship picture, so I could see maybe he sees Baron Corbin's stock on the rise, and maybe they have a little bit of beef down the road. I'd be interested to see that.
Hey, at this point, I'm not willing to write anything off.
There you go.
After our 30-second Baron Corbin squash, though, Sami Zayn comes out, and it's not like he's coming out while Baron Corbin's still in the ring. This is long after Baron Corbin's stuff is over. And we have Olay chants that are basically deafening, and then right as Sami's about to talk, the crowd start doing, Sami, Sami, Sami. And it basically felt like they didn't want him to talk because they were just drowning him with their unbridled affection. And then the first words out of his mouth were, well, I appreciate that. And then he goes into his promo. He says, the reason I'm coming out here is because last week I lost to Titus O'Neil. I lost fair and square, and I gotta be honest, I'm getting a little sick of that. I'm getting a little sick of just coming out here and saying that I lost fair and square because I'm better than that. And I know I'm better than that. And I've proven it time and time and time again in this building and in front of you people. Now it is time for Sami Zayn to refocus and go after the one thing that has eluded me since I've been here, and that's becoming the NXT champion. And cue Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, cue Tyson Kidd. Kidd comes out, and he wearing a Sami Zayn t-shirt, I might add, as a form of mockery.
How cool was that, though? That's such a CM Punk thing to do.
Yeah, Tyson has really stepped up his game since being a part of NXT in so many ways. I mean, to the point where, Ashton, I've readily said that he's become one of my favorite talents. But that aside, he comes out and he pretty much says, you're being ridiculous. You say that you're going to win. You can't win the big one. Hell, you can't even win the little ones. I mean, you lost to Titus O'Neil last week. And, so Tyson's pretty much running Sami Zayn into the ground. Sami retorts with, well, it's better than listening to my wife and having my wife, wear the pants, and your only claim to fame is being on Total Divas. And then that warrants a "you got served" chant from the crowd.
Well, more specifically, Sammy says, why don't you go back there and cry yourself to sleep like you do every night when you're watching yourself on reruns of Total Divas?
Yeah, there were some biting comments here back
Dude,
and
the
forth.
first thing that Sammy said when Tyson Kidd finished his first part of his promo was, "Did you get Natty's permission to come out here?"
Yeah, the crowd ate it up because they started "you got served" chants. I mean,
dude, that's the thing. It's not like Kidd just kind of gave up at that point either. He was like, "Oh, I would rather be on Total Divas than be a total loser like you." And then the crowd did the "oh," and then he said, "Sure, you're gonna get these tiny victories, these moral victories, but anytime you get to the top, you're gonna choke." Is basically what he said. It was awesome. Anytime you get to the top of the mountain, you fall off. And then he brought up last week with Titus O'Neil when he lost again. And then he said, maybe you're not good enough to be here. And then Sammy goes, oh, I don't live in the past, which is, well, all you're talking about is the past. I live in the now. And now begins Sami Zayn's road to redemption. And then he said that not only is he good enough to be here, but he's good enough to beat Tyson Kidd. And he's going to prove it tonight.
Yeah, laying down the gauntlet. And then Tyson closes out by saying, yeah, well, the Sami Zayn road to redemption hits a roadblock. Fact! Mic drop.
I know, dude.
Please.
Another one of my favorite lines that we didn't even talk about. At one point, Tyson says that he wants the match, and then Sammy goes, oh yeah, well, why don't you go back there and get Tyler Breeze's cell phone so that you can make a call to your wife and ask her permission. And then Kid's just like, why would Tyler Breeze have Natty's number? That doesn't make sense. It was just the facial expression was gold.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I love Sami Zayn on the mic more now that he really is showing vulnerability, that he really is showing the wear of the climb. I think he stepped up his game. I think NXT has done wonders for Tyson Kidd's mic skills, and these guys, I think, were at their absolute best in this segment. It was great. In fact, I watched the main event replay before this show, and Tyson cut a promo there, and he's just gotten so funny because he's like, there are two things in life that never lie, cats and facts. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like a mix between Kurt Angle and just Chris Benoit, technically speaking. It's insane. It's just, oh my god.
Well, and then even on top of that, he even brings the cats into it, because after Sammy uses used Tyler Breeze's cell phone to call Natalya line, he starts off with the, why would Tyler Breeze have Natty's number thing, and then he goes into, well, I'll tell you what, I've got some phone calls to make and I've got to go check on my cats, so later tonight we're going to do this.
He treats his cats better than he treats Natalya, and for some reason I'm okay with this.
They probably deserve it.
Oh my god. Alright, dude, do you have anything else to say about this segment, or can we move on?
This segment was awesome. It was so good. Both of these guys showed so much range.
They really did. Like I said, this was the both of them at their absolute best, without question.
All right. Up next, we had a tag team match. The Lucha Dragons versus Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy, henceforth to be known as, and I quote, Team Thick. One
thing that kind of bothers me about NXT, I mean, not to the point where it becomes a detriment to my viewing experience, but I see tag teams with either like a great look or some polish, and I think, well, they've got all this stuff together, when are they going to get pushed? Case in point, Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger immediately comes to mind. I love the tweets hyping up the mechanics that they did and what even commentary put them over as on their debut. And now Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy, Team Thick. And I really do hope that these guys get a push down the line, because just from the little bit I saw from this match, I think they have a lot to offer, Ashton. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, dude, and just so that everybody's clear, John had some major technical issues with the network tonight, so I was seeing just about everything well before he got to see it. And there was one point in this match where Sin Cara was going for a springboard tornado DDT, and Buddy Murphy kind of crouches over into it to kind of use the momentum and reverse it, and then he did a deadlift vertical suplex, and I immediately thought, that was something Cesaro would do. John's going to love this guy.
Yeah, and I did. I popped big for it. Buddy Murphy, man, showing that power was great. I like their look. Coming up with Team Thick and their reasoning, I'd like to see how they can do, like, on the mic personality-wise, because I sense an underlying charisma there. I really do.
Especially with Buddy Murphy.
Especially with, I mean, we saw that leaked promo presentation. I mean, hell, it wasn't the best thing, but you can tell that the guy is probably very creative, very wide-ranging in terms of imagination. But to shift the focus from the challengers to the champions, I mean, they continue to light the ring on fire. These guys are incredible to watch.
Dude, we don't even need to talk about the match. We can just talk about their entrances, and you know they're amazing. Freaking, they're both now at the point that they're both using the trampoline over the top rope jump as their entrances. But Kalisto does this weird thing where, like, he uses momentum from the ropes to bounce over. It's just so cool looking.
Absolutely, dude. These guys are phenomenal. Kalisto gets the tag at one point. I mean, and this is offense we've seen before, but it's still just, like, boggles my mind, which is how you know an act is really amazing, when even after all this time, it still doesn't feel quite familiar, per se. When he does the springboard corkscrew crossbody, it's just beautiful.
Dude, I literally have in my notes that Kalisto's spinning springboard crossbody was insane. We both pointed that out because it was just that ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much crazy stuff happening that my brain couldn't even capture it all, but I know in the final moments, Kalisto vaults over the ropes of the crossbody, and then Sin Cara does something I've never seen before. And Ashton, because you saw it well before I did, I'll give you the honors of telling the crowd what exactly he did, because this just blew my freaking mind.
Well, I don't even know what to call it, though, John. What would you even call it? I have in my notes that it was a sunset flip powerbomb, but I don't think that's a super appropriate way to describe it.
It's not, to me, Ashton, from what I saw, and I hate to get all Jim Ross potentially smirking here, I don't even think it was like a sunset flip. To me, it was more like an avalanche victory roll. Because it didn't even seem to have the formation of a sunset flip to me. It seemed to have the formation of a victory roll, but off the top rope, hence why I called it avalanche. And yeah, I've never seen anything like that before. That was crazy.
But here's the thing. We may have never seen anything like it before, but that didn't make it look any less like a finisher. Like, I feel like that could beat anybody that he uses it on.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I love that they have individual finishers rather than only being able to beat teams together.
Right. And Ashton, you got to figure too. What I love about the finisher, and maybe I'm looking way too deep into it, but this is just my thought process. He kicks, because I think it was Wesley Blake that was the illegal man at the time, kicks him hard in the head. So you have to figure for like a pinning move like that, it throws the equilibrium off. You don't even know where you are. And then he just drops him like that in that victory roll, which still has to have some level of impact. I think the whole thing is just beautiful, with the kick to the head as the setup and then the follow through. Just excellent by Sin Cara.
I feel like that kick to the head, or that style kick to the head, is getting so overused, because I see that used relatively consistently by Sin Cara, Tyson Kidd, Adrian Neville, RVD when he's around. Like, it's getting overused at this point. They need to start coming up with different ways to knock people out.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying. I think it's just kind of a calling card for the high-flying class, but some diversification is always welcome. Regardless, Lucha Dragons get the win, and I still believe that the Vaudevillains are in their immediate future. You and I both concurred on that. But again, I hope that Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy actually are able to break the pattern, break the mold, and get a push on themselves, because I like the little glimmer that we saw tonight.
Yeah, it was. This match was, in my opinion, the best, maybe the second best match of the night. And I don't really have much else to add other than just awesome.
I don't either. We can move on.
All right, up next we had a Mojo Rawley promo, and he kind of had like an aggressive side to him, borderline heelish tendencies. But he still said that he stays hyped, which is just the definition of lame.
Yeah, I have to admit, there were two things I liked about this Mojo Rawley promo. One was kind of like the somber delivery. Like, yeah, I'm going to be out for a while, but I'm never going to forget to do this. But, like, he's just so down and he's just like simmering and almost at the point of like boiling over is the impression I got. And yeah, just again, the delivery, just knowing like, I'm never gonna forget who did this to me. You know, payback is on my mind, but then yeah, he totally kills it by going to that line, because I always stay hyped. Had we just like cut at a certain point when he said maybe he was gonna get revenge or however he phrased it, and then you cut, I think it would have been one of Mojo Rawley's best promos. But adding in that hype line there really did kind of kill it for me.
I want him to cut a promo where he says, you know, all this time I've been thinking that what I've been doing is getting and staying hype. But at the end of the day, hype just doesn't describe what I want to do. What I need to do is be aggressive. And then he goes forward with that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Maybe even something along the lines of, you know, I realized getting hyped was pretty much the same as getting nowhere. And he just kind of drops it. Yeah, like you said, picks up a more aggressive mantra and runs with that. Because I saw a kernel of something in this promo that I liked. I mean, maybe we could explore it further. Probably not, being realistic. But we'll see what happens, and that's all I have to say about that for the time being.
Yeah, you say you saw a kernel. I definitely didn't see even that much.
There you go.
All I saw was a bad actor trying to pretend to be an aggressive bad guy.
Yeah, not well then again, I won't even compare that to Bull Dempsey, because he hasn't even really been annoying me that much lately. So, there you go.
Yeah. Alright. Up next, going from down in the gutters up to, you know, rising up above the mountaintops, we have Charlotte versus Becky Lynch in what was, in my opinion, arguably the match of the night. I really enjoyed this match, and I think it's because Becky Lynch just got the opportunity to kind of do her thing and show just how much of a ring general she can be when allowed to be.
Yeah, the fact that Becky Lynch got her opportunity to shine, I think, did this match a major service. Not that it would have been bad if that didn't happen, but it certainly didn't hurt. Quite the contrary. I loved the bit of chain wrestling these two women had in the beginning, where they were exchanging holds and kind of sizing each other up. That was really cool. Becky Lynch's high-paced offense was great, you know, with the kicks to the face and the drop kicks. Even some of the more technical stuff where she was trying to pick apart the leg of Charlotte, which, by the way, if Becky Lynch is going to have some progression on the road, which I'm hinting at a segment we're going to discuss later, I'd love for her to adopt the Celtic knot, that maneuver that Finlay used to use during his time. I think that would be a great submission finisher for her, pretty much because all the women seem to have submission finishers as well. I guess that's why I went to that bag of tricks, because I liked how she was zoning in on that leg of Charlotte, but it never really went anywhere from what I recollect in this match.
No, it didn't really go anywhere, but I still really enjoyed that she took the time to work over a body part and to kind of play that role, because that was really kind of our unwitting first hint at a potential heel turn.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought it was quite apropos that it was, again, Charlotte of all people, almost as much to say, hey, you want to pick legs apart, I can do that too, and I can do it better. So that was really cool. Yeah, again, great back and forth between these two. Becky, you could tell, I think, got a little bit frustrated towards the end when she couldn't put Charlotte away. I mean, at one point she nails 3 consecutive leg drops to Charlotte, but still only gets the 2 count. And then I love Charlotte here. It just shows you how much she's grown from her debut to now, because she has a chain of maneuvers. She does the neck breaker, which gets the opponent in perfect position for natural selection, and she gets the win after a great women's bout.
Yeah, this was an awesome back and forth match. This was hands down Becky Lynch's best match that I've ever seen, and that's just because I've never seen anything that she did before she got to NXT, so I'm sure she had better matches in Shimmer and whatever else she was in beforehand, but that I've seen, this was her best match ever.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, Ashton. Charlotte continues her dominance. Commentary put her over like gold, which is great. It's so nice, too. Can I just say as an aside that it's wonderful that commentary seems to treat, like, both women, not even just the champion, like the entirety of the division with the dignity of being actual competitors rather than talking about Twitter or maybe making jokes at their expense or total diva. Like, it's nice to know that the actual content they're putting on is being seriously examined and talked about. Just wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome. Up next, and this, I don't want to actually talk about what happened here yet because I have another point that I want to address, but up next was an Ascension promo. They showed the previous week where Hideo Itami was tied up in the ropes and they beat up on Funaki, and then they cut a promo talking about how Hideo Itami doesn't belong here and they're gonna, I don't even know exactly what kind of point they were trying to make, but at the end of the day, it was all just about they don't want Hideo Itami at NXT. But this brings me to an even greater point. This was a brilliant way to not have Hideo Itami be on this show, but still keep him fresh in everyone's minds, which brings me to an even greater point. The roster rotation is alive.
Yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. And that's a great point, Ashton. I didn't even think about any of that when I saw this. I mean, really, when I saw this, I took it at face value, and I was getting ready to talk about, the Ascension's delivery and stuff like that, which was fine, but really nothing beyond that. But you're absolutely right. This is why NXT works, because it says, hey, we don't need Hideo Itami on every show so long as we keep Hideo Itami fresh in everybody's minds, and I think this is a very successful tool to accomplish that feat. This is why I feel like NXT is untouchable. I think it's a confidence in their roster and knowing how to handle those who are absent that week. It's just marvelous.
And hey, let's look at everybody else that didn't show up tonight. Tyler Breeze, the Vaudevillains, Bailey. There were so many people that were not on this show tonight, and we didn't miss them because the show was still awesome. But by the time we see them next, we'll realize that we did miss them anyway.
Exactly. Beautifully said. I can't add anything further to that. If you want to move on, we can. I'm
just trying to think of who else wasn't on tonight, but I'm sure somebody will come to my mind while we're talking about other stuff. So in the meantime, Enzo and Big Cass versus the Legionnaires, and this match never really gets underway because Sylvester Lafort ends up pulling Marcus Louis' wig off, and yeah, I'll let you take it from here, John.
Yeah, Marcus Louis, enraged because Sylvester Lafort has consistently put him in these positions, starts wailing on Sylvester Lafort. The crowd loves it. They take the traditional yes chant, because from what I heard, it starts as a yes chant, but then it turns into a we chant.
Yeah,
they translate
dude, that blew my mind. Like, they were chanting yes, 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 and slowly but surely it transitioned into we. How is this crowd so freaking smart?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, hell, it's taking place in a university. Maybe some people were taking French courses. I don't know. But it was great. And what I love about this, Ashton, and again, God, NXT reviews pretty much should just be called TWitWoW Makes Out with NXT once a week. Because we didn't even get an actual match here. But I still felt like my appetite, so to speak, for the talents involved was satisfied. Because Enzo and Big Cass had the crowd in the palm of their hands again. Dude, I'd be seriously willing to wager that they are the most over act, maybe behind Sami Zayn, and that's it. It's like Sami Zayn, Enzo, and Big Cass. It's unbelievable the reaction they get from this crowd.
And I give it about a month, and number 3 on that list is going to be Baron Corbin.
Yeah. Oh, completely agree with you. And you know what? Enzo and Big Cass didn't even, make anything specific for this promo like they did the week prior with the Vaudevillains. They just did their usual stick, this is Big Cass, 7 foot tall, you can't teach that. So, their usual stick. But the
bada boom! Realest guys in the room. How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing? The crowd was so great about it. They followed along, I think, from the very beginning.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing. Not only did they follow along from the very beginning, but even after the stuff that they do every week when they did a little bit of the different stuff, the crowd remembered that they had done this bit before and still went along with it. Because that was when they said, if me and Big Cass had a dime for every time we got beat up when we were kids, we would have 0 dimes.
It was great. And that just shows you how invested the crowd is into this act. So, yeah, I just want to touch on that very quickly. Sylvester LaForge did get, again, laid out. Marcus Louis, who I have to admit, even probably more so than Kane when he originally unmasked, he has got a menacing quality about him being bald. He actually is off-putting to me, genuinely. I don't know if it's...
That's because he doesn't have eyebrows.
Yeah, the lack of eyebrows, man, just so weird. So he leaves, and then Enzo and Big Cass, they take this as an opportunity. I guess, again, NXT's learning from TWitWoW because they have the perfect segue, because they're like, hey, we got time for one more match. And then they're like, come on down, Bluey. We saw you in the back earlier. Come on, Bluey. And this woman in blue pants comes out, and that's pretty much how they introduce her, is Blue Pants.
Yeah,
and
they call her Old Blue Pants.
Old Blue Pants, and the crowd digs it. And then, Enzo and Big Cass were like, I take back what I said earlier. We got one dime, Carmella. And they said some stuff before that. Really great.
Bada bing! Realest chick in the ring.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. They
So
were
good.
on point. Yeah, on point.
These guys are absolute gold.
They really are, dude. Like I said, I think the second best act in terms of crowd reaction, right behind Sami Zayn. And I do mean...
And here's the thing. The great thing about this is Carmella has a gimmick that normally would only be able to work if she was a heel.
Right.
Because she's got this FABOLOUS thing going on, and she's kind of obnoxious and pretentious, and she has like this huge ego, and she's swinging her hair around like she's a freaking supermodel, and it's so up in your face that in most cases, and even a little bit in this case, which I'll talk about in a second, the crowd would be booing relentlessly. But because she's associated with Enzo and Big Cass, they let off. But they didn't let off completely, like I said a couple seconds ago, because to start the match, we got "Let's Go Blue Pants" chants.
Hilarious.
So
Absolutely
good.
hilarious. Yeah. What were you saying, Ashton?
I was just going to say "so good" again, because it's just so good.
It really is. It really is. Unfortunately, Blue Pants didn't really get to show much, and then again, neither did Carmella, because this match didn't last that long. I think they had a lock up. Then a few seconds later, Carmella got a drop kick, and then she gets the leg lock around the head submission hold that we saw, I think, like a week or two prior in her training video.
It's like a leg executed sleeper or something like that.
Yeah, you know what? And this just shows you what kind of a weird wrestling fan I am after so many years of the product, because I already can't wait to see what name they come up with for that. Like what name are you going to call that in like later weeks? But yeah, she gets the win with that.
The Staten Island sleeper?
Maybe. Yeah, just that sounds perfect to me. And she celebrates with Enzo and Big Cass. First victory. We'll have to see where Carmella fits in the NXT women's division.
Oh, God. I can't wait for her and Sasha Banks to have an interaction.
Oh, my God, the universal implode.
And speaking of Sasha Banks, up next...
He does it again! Oh, my God!
Becky Lynch confronts Sasha Banks about what she did to Bayley last week.
Dude, your TWitWoW segues and RKO Vine videos are like soulmates. Segue out of nowhere. But yeah, very interesting because, again, Ashton, I'm the guy that reads too much into things, but this reminded me so much of when Sasha came into her own by confronting, I think it was
Summer Rae.
It was Summer Rae. It was Summer Rae. Because, yeah, Becky Lynch comes in and says, what you did to Bayley last week was disgusting. I hope you get what's coming to you. And then, so she says, what's coming to me? And she pretty much says, what's coming to me is the NXT Women's Championship, because I'll do whatever I can to get to the top. And where are you going? This is the second time you've lost to Charlotte now. Maybe instead of lecturing me, you should look at yourself in the mirror. And this just reminded me so much of when Summer planted the seeds for Sasha and then began the BFFs, telling the wide-eyed, optimistic rookie, hey, get a reality check. If you want to survive here, you're going to have to do things that you may not necessarily want to do. And Sasha feeding Becky Lynch the same advice, and the camera pans to Becky Lynch actually looking at herself in the mirror, looking unsure of herself. So maybe the cycle begins again, Ashton.
Dude, can we just take a minute to recognize that that's the same mirror that Sasha Banks turned heel in?
Really?
I don't know if it's the exact same one, but it's the exact same shot that they used, where it was like a makeup mirror at like a vanity kind of thing, and Summer Rae was talking to Sasha and telling her about how you have to take what you want and blah blah blah, and telling her these heel stuff basically to get her to turn. And then they Summer Rae walked away, and they just cut the camera to the mirror, which Sasha was staring deeply into. And it's the same exact thing here. Sasha talks Becky Lynch into basically do whatever you can to win. And then Sasha walks away, and the camera cuts into the mirror, which Becky Lynch is looking into deeply. Like, it's just... Raw doesn't remember things that happened like a week ago, and NXT remembers something that happened a year ago.
Yeah, could this be like the BFFs V2? I mean, my God. It'll be very interesting to see.
Dude, BFFs version 2.0, Sasha, Becky, and Carmella. Oh my God.
I can dig it. I mean, just Sasha and Carmella alone, I mean, the sense of entitlement in that one room. Oh my God. Just real quick though, because I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole, but I do think a heel Becky Lynch could be interesting. So I'm very open to it. So
Definitely.
I'm excited. What future weeks have to hold.
And dude, I feel like one of my favorite parts about this is that I feel like Becky Lynch right now is in a really, really similar place to where Sasha was when she turned heel. Because, like, I feel like Sasha, when she turned heel, it was after coming off of 1 or 2 losses in non-title matches against Paige. And this was around the time that Summer Rae had a clean victory over Paige and just hadn't won the title. And that whole exchange happened, and now it's like we're back to step one. Becky Lynch has a couple losses to Charlotte, and even though Sasha Banks doesn't technically have those losses or have those wins over Charlotte, or even a win over Charlotte yet, she still has like the arrogance that kind of makes up for that, where she thinks that she's going down the right path even though she hasn't proven it yet. And I love the continuity that we have right now on NXT. It's amazing.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I mean, the idea that they pay this much attention and put forth this much effort, I think says everything you need to know. And I say this in the best way possible. I mean, this is women we're dealing with here. With the main roster Divas division, do you really think they put in this much effort? And yet on NXT and their women's division, they get this kind of time, they get this kind of creativity, they get this kind of effort. And I love you, NXT. Just so much.
Yeah. Yeah, and someone on Reddit even pointed it out. Last week we had a Hey Arnold reference, and now this week we had a Price is Right reference with Enzo and Big Cass being like, "Hey, Blue Pants, come on down!" And they actually sang the Price is Right entrance theme song, which the crowd proceeded to sing along with them. I just hope WWE doesn't get hit with a freaking copyright strike for that. We had a Blues Clues reference, and we had a Kitty Pryde reference, all within like 5 seconds of each other.
Insane, man. Insane.
This episode, if anybody asks me, why do you watch NXT? Or even better, I'm thinking about getting into NXT, but I don't feel like I want to just kind of jump in head first because I don't want to get lost. Either one of those questions, I would say watch this episode.
Yeah, definitely. I think it really is. I actually like how you put that, because I think it recaps all the major things happening. Sami Zayn talking about a road to redemption, things happening with the women's division. Yeah, NXT has you covered big time in this one episode.
Yeah, it's amazing. NXT is everything that I want Raw to be.
You and everyone else, my friend. You and everyone else.
Well, no, I wish that I could say me and everyone else, but not enough people watch NXT to be able to say everyone else.
I'd be very curious what kind of television numbers it would do if it was on TV rather than just being like a network exclusive show. Because this is the best wrestling product being produced just right now, at least that I actively watch, not counting indies, of course. It's just so good, and it's 1 hour. 1 hour, and they have a roster rotation, so it's not even like I'm seeing the same talents consistently every week. It's crazy. Insane.
If we could get NXT writers with the combined rosters of NXT and Raw to handle Raw every week, I firmly believe that we would have NXT quality shows for 3 hours every week, because they know that you can't use the same talents every week and expect people to not get sick of them.
Right.
Like, I'm starting to warm up to Sheamus now because he's being featured less. Do you know how huge of a deal that is? Go back and listen to TWitWoW from, I want to say, like mid to late 2012 when Sheamus was on his babyface run as world champion. I hated him so much. And he all it took was for him to go away for a while and then come back and then go away for a little while more and then come back. And it's like I feel refreshed on him and I'm starting to appreciate the good things rather than focusing on the bad. And it's like he's coming around on me because of that. WWE needs to get it through their heads, man, that you can't have the same guys on TV every single week and just expect fans to not get sick of them.
Absolutely, man. I mean, there's always going to be a burnout. Why do you think John Cena, even when they pair him with like the top baby faces of the people getting the best reactions, still can't get over certain humps? It's because just the consistency. Even on injury, the reprieve isn't big enough. NXT says, hey, we get it. Even some of our best acts, novelty wears off no matter how good you are at what you do. Let's do a roster rotation. Let's do this. And it's worked brilliantly because every time I see an act, I welcome them with open arms. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, and that's another thing. NXT has earned our confidence that even if we are uncomfortable or don't necessarily fall in love with something right away, they've earned our confidence to the point that we are willing to give them slack because we know that they'll get it right eventually.
That's so true. I mean, their track record, Ashton, speaks for itself, and I think you're right on point. I feel like when NXT, because here's the thing, NXT has never horrendously struck out. That's the thing, too. The worst that NXT
But that's the thing, John.
Today,
they've never horrendously struck out, but we had thought at least 2 different times that they did horrendously strike out.
Do you remember one of those times specifically so we can kind of discuss it a little bit? Or
putting the NXT title on Bo Dallas.
Oh, yeah, and then look at how that turned out. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
That is the number one most prime example that I can think of where we thought, oh, this is horrible. We're not going to want to watch NXT anymore. What are they thinking? And look at how the 3 to 6 months later, and the big mistake that we thought they made ended up turning into one of our personal favorites on the show.
Yeah, and one of their most worthwhile investments. NXT, that's the thing. NXT, I think they have something that not even Raw can necessarily have my full 100% of, and that's my trust. Because I could see NXT do something, and I may be wary about it. I may even be contentious towards it. But I will never, ever say that I don't believe in NXT to do the best with it.
Yep.
There's a fine line there. And, again, just bringing it full circle. These women, how they're handling Becky Lynch. You and I have talked about, the mannerisms seem just a little bit much. Can you scale it back? Yeah, I did better.
And you know what, dude? I feel like she did scale it back a little this week. And I don't even mean, she didn't get rid of it completely, but I definitely feel like she scaled it back because there was one point when previously she would have done the hair whip 5 or 6 times, and she only did 1. And it was less like a hair whip, and it was more like just a single flip to get it out of her face, so it seemed like normal. And then she did it 3 times with her head out the ring to kind of get people into it, and that was it. She put an end to it there. There weren't any guttural screams during the middle of the match. She toned it back, I think, just enough that I don't feel like it's awkward anymore.
There you go. I mean, I think NXT even realizes, our characters, our storylines, this and that, they're always going to be a work in progress, and let's not be afraid to put forth that progress. Let's not be afraid to tinker a little bit because we have time.
Yeah.
Because, we don't have everybody breathing down our necks. And maybe, maybe I've been taking the Raw writers a little bit to task. I mean, it's a 3-hour program. It's their flagship show. There's got to be a lot of hierarchy there. There's got to be a lot of stress there. I can imagine the NXT, just creative process and everything, because of where it's stationed and everything, being a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
So we need to get the NXT mentality over to the main roster because you'll see improvement literally overnight. And by overnight, I mean the very next show that they're able to have control of. It's insane.
Yeah. All right. Up next was an Adrian Neville promo, and yet again, I find myself saying, when did he get this good on the mic?
Yeah. His delivery was impassioned, but succinct at the same time. He says, I'm really getting sick of the fact that when Raw and SmackDown guys, come here, because of the fact that they are from Raw and SmackDown, we're supposed to be intimidated. Well, I'm not intimidated. And he pretty much tells Titus, hey, you can come down here next week and you can have your match against me, but you won't be walking away with my NXT championship, pretty much saying that I'm going to defend the turf. Wonderful promo from Neville here.
Yeah, the passion, he's talking about how I'm going to stand across the ring from you and you are not going to leave with my NXT championship. The fire, man, I love it. It was so good.
Yeah, I love when champions are territorial about their championships. When they really act like leaders. It's fantastic.
Definitely. All right, up next, and finally, we got our main event, Sami Zayn versus Tyson Kidd, which John thought was the match of the night, and I would say probably most people too, but I'm just a sucker for the underdog story where Becky Lynch got all that offense and the Lucha Dragons just blow my mind. And I'm just kind of used to Kidd and Zayn doing their thing at this point, so it didn't impress me as much. I guess you could call me a jaded Sami Zayn fan at this point. I don't know. But this match was still awesome without any doubts.
But you know what the beautiful thing about NXT is, though, and I've said this consistently, any, viable opportunity that I get, it has something for everybody. If maybe you feel like you've gotten a little bit too comfortable with how the likes of Sami Zayn and Tyson Kidd work with each other, you still have the Lucha Dragons to blow your mind. And hell, let's say, for example, if that wasn't as relatively fresh as I think it still kind of is, even after they've won the championships, we'll give you a nice underdog story with Becky Lynch, and maybe now she'll cross over to the dark side. So it's amazing everything that they throw at you. But to bring it back to this match, yeah, it was a tremendous back and forth. They did the teases to start to really get the crowd into it, like, oh, they're practically mirror images of each other. And then when it got on offense, it was really good. Tyson's soccer kick that he does on the apron is probably one of my favorite moves that he has in his repertoire, and Sami Zayn sold it like death. His sell job was tops. So kudos to him there. Great sequences of maneuvers, Sami Zayn, getting kicks here and there. Tyson with just the grappling. Like, everybody threw everything at each other. Big moment in the match, though, was Tyson tried going for a slingshot leg drop over the rope. Sami moved out of the way, and Tyson seemed to hit his back. He rolls into the ring. He looks like he's going to do something in the corner to Zayn. Zayn catches him, though, with the exploder suplex in the corner, which just always looks devastating. And then he nails the haluva kick for the win. So, yeah, they've really been building it up that this arc is to be known as Sami Zayn's road to redemption. And you know what? I think it actually is a legitimate question to ask. Is it going to culminate in him finally winning the NXT Championship? Because he's probably one of the best booked underdog characters that I've seen in a good long while, to be honest. So I can't even definitively say he's going to win the championship with this arc.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, just this whole underdog story that they're doing with Sami Zayn, it feels like it's been so long in the making. Like, even if you want to go back as far as his debut, he debuted and beat Cesaro and then didn't win a big match at any point after that.
Right. Sami Zayn has...
Is that not crazy to you?
That's insane to me is what that is. I mean, this guy has struggled and clawed for everything he has had. And the reason why I'm not even like thinking, oh, Road to Redemption, and it's so hokey, this, that, or the other, which is a reaction I would have if they were calling it John Cena's Road to Redemption. Or hell, if he was still here with the kind of momentum he was having, I'd even go as far as say Daniel Bryan's Road to Redemption. Like, I think Sami Zayn is one of the best booked underdogs. Again, I probably ever since I've started watching wrestling. Just amazing how they just crap on this guy every time he gets close. And that's why, even though they're blatantly telling you this is the road to redemption, I can't readily buy it. And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because,
and you know what's even crazier, dude?
What's that, man?
The fact that this is a guy who you want to call clutch, because in situations like this, when his back is against the wall, when he has no choice but to win in order to shut people up from calling him a loser, he can win. But then you can't call him clutch, because to call him clutch would imply that he wins the big ones. And that's the biggest problem with him.
Exactly, which is why this arc is going to work, and it's got me by the hook in deep, because he can win every match. But you know what? I'm still going to be so nervous and so on edge for the match, the championship match against Adrian Neville. And yeah, it's already working out, dude, like you and I said it would. The first championship match against Titus O'Neil, maybe there'll be another one, but if not, he moves right on to Tyler Breeze. And then after Tyler Breeze, however long that goes on, we've got ourselves Sami Zayn. And the question is, can Sami Zayn do it, or will Adrian Neville turn heel to keep it? I mean, what is going to happen here? It's crazy how many questions they've got me asking about their main storyline, something that WWE just really has not been able to accomplish with some of their bigger storylines on Raw recently. It's just fantastic that I'm this engaged.
Yeah. So, hey, Sami Zayn won.
Yes. Sami Zayn did pick up the win after the Haluva kick. Again, great match. You already said that it was like the third best match for you of the night, behind Lucha Dragons versus Wesley Blake and Money Murphy, Team Thick, and Charlotte and Becky Lynch. So if you have anything else you want to say, we can move on to our next segment.
Yeah, absolutely. Next segment.
All right, high spots and low shots. And you know what? My low shot's going to be Tyson Kidd. I love the guy, but you know what? He talked a lot of smack to Sami Zayn about how he's incapable of winning. He even went as far as to say, you are the most pathetic person I've ever met in my life. And he just lost to the most pathetic person he's ever met in his life. So what is he going to think about himself when he looks in the mirror? Hard night for Tyson Kidd. Fact.
I think that a certain someone has a mirror that he might want to look into.
I see what you did there. Yeah, I'd love the thought of them teaming together. So who is your low shot?
My low shot is... man, there are so many choices, but none of them feel like the right choice. Tyson Kidd really does feel like the right choice, but I don't want to copy you. You know what? I'm going to make it simple. I'm going to make my low shot Sylvester Lefort, because he made a massive mistake, and he made yet another enemy out of somebody that we thought would be his friend and his countrymate even.
Yeah, his only friend in the locker room. I mean, they even had a tag team together. And you know how hard it is for Sylvester Lefort to make friends. We've taken that journey. He's tried building a clientele. It's never ended well for him, ever. This is the most sustainable thing he had
Oh
going.
my God, I just realized something.
What's that?
I bet you Sylvester Lefort, in hindsight, regrets not accepting Bull Dempsey into his Legionnaire. He applied.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? Because, like, Sylvester just looked at him like he was disgusting because he's a fat guy, and now Bull Dempsey's dominating people. And, like, imagine how Sylvester must feel now.
Yeah, really. He's got to feel so embarrassed because he's left with nothing now.
Dude, I hope they address that. I hope that they do Sylvester versus Bull in one of Bull's squash matches, and they address that on commentary.
Yeah, that would be great. Maybe even Sylvester, because he knows that Marcus Louis is just snapped due to all the personal humiliation. Like, Sylvester Lefort fears for his personal safety, so he wants to invest in a bodyguard, and Bull Dempsey's at the top of the list, and he just snubs him in the most comedic way possible. Be great.
Yeah. It would be awesome.
So, yeah, Sylvester LaForge, your low shot. That's a great pick. You know what? I'm going to have a dual high spot only because one of my high spots is more fun, and I'll get that on first. The crowd.
Yes.
I had to make the crowd my high spot here. They were fantastic tonight. From their ovation for Sami Zayn to keeping up with Pig Cass and Enzo, just everything. Everything about this crowd tonight was so on point. So that's my fun high spot. My more serious high spot, you know what? I'm just going to continue down the Zayn vein. Sami Zayn.
Did you seriously just say that you're going to continue down the Zayn vein?
I meant to say same vein. That may have been a bodge on my part, but hell, it worked for the best, I guess. Because, yeah, he self-proclaimed that this is his road to redemption, and he actually followed through on it. So, yeah, he beats Tyson Kidd. Victory 1. Hey, how does it go? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and Sammy took his tonight. I think Bo would be proud if he was.
You know who I think next in line has to be for Sammy to beat?
Tyler Breeze.
Yep, the man that beat him at NXT TakeOver, the first one.
And you know they'll acknowledge that. You know they will.
Definitely.
So that's great. This actually.
Oh, I love NXT so much. I want to shout it from the rooftops.
Oh, dude, wait. Before, cause I don't want to take away your time for your high spot away from you there, but you just put a thought in my brain. The finale before the championship, he has to beat Cesaro one-on-one.
Oh my God, yes.
He has to. He beat Tyson Kidd. Now he has to beat Tyler Breeze. We agree on that. And now he has to beat Cesaro. Has to.
Or because I feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on him right now. I would be okay if he won the NXT championship and then had a successful defense against Cesaro.
I can take that, sure. Yeah, I can take that.
But regardless, he needs to beat Cesaro before he gets called up.
Because the thing is, Cesaro's in the mid-card right now anyway with the Intercontinental Championship with Ziggler and stuff, so he'd be in a place to say, hey, what?
You know what I could actually see them doing?
What's that?
I could see them doing Sami Zayn's last match at NXT, because it was also his first match at NXT, being one-on-one with Cesaro.
That could be. And hell, maybe Sami Zayn gets the victory, and then you have Kevin Steen take him out so that you know, like, he's totally done with NXT.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. You've got so many ways you could go with this. It's insane. But you just saying that and actually structuring a ladder for Sami Zayn just made me think that Cesaro is, like, the next to top rung. Like, the rung right before you get to the top of the ladder. And, yeah, I'd love to see them go at it just one more time with Sami finally getting that win.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, I love NXT so much.
It's so good. But now, I apologize about that, dude. You just put the thought in my head and I had to express it. Who is your high spot?
You said the crowd, so I'm tempted to just say my high spot is NXT. So yeah, I'm gonna have a dual high spot too. NXT and the crowd, but then my actual real high spot is the Lucha Dragons, because they were amazing.
I love it. I love all of it. This show is just so perfect. Yeah, I really can't say anything other than that. Is there anything else you want to say in closing before I wrap us up?
Watch NXT, please.
Guys, you gotta understand, like, I could talk about NXT all day. If this was a woman, I'd wine her, dine her, take her to the beach, take her to the top of the world. Like, it's perfect. This show, even if it does wrong, it's not nearly as obscene as the other wrongs I've seen occur in wrestling, and even if it were, I'd have faith in NXT to fix it, to correct the wrong. That speaks volumes, folks, because here's the thing. I think any promotion can really do things right. I think it really says something about a love for a promotion and a faith in a product. I keep saying promotion even though it's part of the WWE. Like, that's how much I think about NXT, that it's its own unique identity. I think it says so much more when you have faith in a product to correct its ills. And that's what I have in NXT. It's brilliant. So with that said, Ashton said it succinctly, watch NXT. I said my mouthful. Guys, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. Guys, comment and discuss on Pweetov. What did you think about NXT tonight? Subscribe on YouTube, and we will see you again for our Monday Night Raw review as the table is set. We know Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins are going to collide at Hell in a Cell inside Satan's structure. What will these two have to say to each other? You'll get the best coverage right here. Peace out, guys.